Hello, welcome back to my channel. Always so happy to find you here. I do upload on Mondays and Thursdays and again during the week as topics come about. So please make sure you click subscribe anytime while watching this video. You'll be alerted when I have uploaded new content for your view, and of course, my pleasure. And it is my pleasure. Welcome to any new subscribers. It's my delight to have you here, and I hope you stay for a very long time and invite a friend with you also next time. I am wanting to, for this topic, follow up my upload, my recent, just yesterday, upload on Steve Harvey, in which not about Steve Harvey, but in which I reference kings and the ways of kings. And I use the child rhyme of Humpty Dumpty. And we're in this, I agree with Katt WIlliams, this kind of this age of truth where at least others will hear it now. At least others can, I can't go as far as saying embrace it, but at least not challenge it as much. And so I'm going to roll with that. I am going to roll with that because it's been a long time coming. And so at least it's easier to put out there. For this topic, I'd like to address this king mentality. And in reference to Humpty Dumpty. So it could be at least lighthearted, which is the way I typically like to present the truth, and sometimes a disturbing characteristic within the truth of a person or persona, such as a king. Okay? All right. So when I first started my channel, going on 4 years now, I often reference kings and queens. Well, that's not king-like. Well, that's not queen-like. There's an expectation of you just in your royal episode. You can still have fun. Oh, trust and believe. You can still have fun. You can still enjoy life, but who you are as the character of a queen or a king is what I was talking about. And a lot of people never got it. They thought I was talking about a literal Queen Elizabeth. And I'm not. I'm talking about a character and quality of the way you carry yourself. Not that you're better than others, because you're not. Not that you're more royal than someone, because you're not. Not that you're the most wealthiest and the most knowledgeable, because you're not. I'm talking about conduct. And as I say, the ABCs, the acceptable behavior and conduct of a person in private and in public is what I'm talking about. But I don't want to go through all of that. You can go through any of my videos from way back when, and you'll hear me move up to those points of references. But I'm wanting to focus on this Humpty Dumpty reference to a king, particularly a man who really considers himself a king. Now, I'll share this. I'll share this with myself personally. I have always been, or to some degree, attracted to the person that carries the king quality. Now, I don't know why that is. Now, it could be my dad. People say, girls, look for guys. Like, it could be my dad. Most of the people that I've dated carry the king quality. Most of them didn't know it. I had to show them that they were being king-like. But it is the way about the person. It is the confidence of the person. It is a structure, often very interested in someone with a military background. So that was also my dad. Someone that's poetic or musical. Well, that was also my dad. Someone that can carry their own. They don't want to fight, but if you bring it, they will fight back. That was my dad. So that's just me. Those are often, to me, king qualities. So I'm prefacing that. So what often happens in the king, as I referenced in my last video, is when there is a mismanagement of the king's ways, a crisis begins. An unseen crisis that he doesn't realize is going on. And before he realizes it, it is already in crisis mode, but because he's king, he has it contained. And often others don't see it. So let's just use Steve as an example. Let's just use his spouses. Being married multiple times, having everything come down on you all at the same time. Now, often a king, this is my words, this is my observation. There may not be studies of it, but this is my knowledge of a king-like man. They don't want to be told what to do. Often they know they don't know everything, but their confidence can sometimes come across as egoistic. And if you cross it, it can become a battle to check you, when in reality, they're the ones to be checked. Well, who's going to check a king? Who's going to check a king? If they don't manage well, and this to me is why we have such a long history of failed, miserable kings. How do you collapse a king? By his character of choices and through his family. He doesn't get that love. He doesn't get that family. He doesn't get the children to behave well. This is how you collapse. This is how you collapse a king. And this is what a lot of what Steve Harvey is going through. So when we say Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again. Well, who is Humpty? Humpty is the king. Because why would the king send all of his horses and all of his men to go fetch Humpty when he could have sent a knight in shining armor? He could have sent a lord. He could have sent a bishop. All the kings come to rescue Humpty. Now, when I say all the king's horses and all the king's men, let's just look at that little fable fairy tale illustration, like in real life. And that is all the king's horses and all the king's men is everything that the king knows. It could be his family. It could be friends. It could be a rotation of women. Now I'm using kings. It could be a queen. It could be a queen having this, but I'm using the word king right now. It could be opposite, whatever, wherever you are. But in particularly men that carry the king energy, they often forget to balance the energy. So they start selecting the wrong woman. They start doing a poor job. They start drinking. They start falling apart at the seams. And no one, all the king's horses and all the king men, can put him back together again, because who's going to check the king? Who's going to check? Who's going to check the king? And oftentimes, if you don't present it properly, they can't hear you. They'll say, I don't remember that. They'll say, I didn't do that. Not me. Or don't talk to me that way, because they are now smothered by what they don't see, but everyone else sees clearly. This is how a king collapses. Now let's use the example of a real king that we know, King Charles. Do you think he's having a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner with both his children? Well, come on. Come on. Now there's a public image, but here he has William, who seems to be remaining silent in Switzerland, but you don't know what he's saying behind scenes. And then you have Harry, who's having quite, I don't know if I could be Meghan, but having quite a challenge in his marriage, probably based on who he married. All of that. And he can easily look at his own dad and say, but you married the concubine, you married the side chick, you married the concubine, you married our mother's greatest rival. Well, I hate you for that. So there's a family feud I talked about those are family matters. So the whole starts happening. All of that starts happening. When the king starts crashing, now these are my words. These are my words. When the king starts crashing, a lot of what's in his life starts shaking and then shaking. Then he gets a minute to relax and then shakes some more and gets a minute to relax and starts shaking more and more. It's almost like warnings and warnings and warnings. And then all of a sudden it feels like the king's karma. Now no one likes the word karma. Then when such a thing starts happening all the time, one thing about karma is karma never comes early and it never comes late. It never goes away. You can't pray it away. Now I did a video on that. I did 2 videos on it. I'll drop them in the description box 2 years ago, in which I said karma has an assignment. Let's say it's the king, for example. It will not quit its assignment. It will not rush through it. It will not, you cannot make it in. You can't plea it away. You can't pray it away. You can't press it away. You can't pay for it away. You can't bury it away. It will not go away until it's finished with its subject matter. And so often for a king, the karma starts what I call colliding. Stuff just starts happening. Like, for example, Steve found out his wife cheated on him, which I would call, not that the person is a lesser person, but with the lesser subject matter, she didn't even go up in rank. Well, now this isn't even wise. You're going to mess around with a security. Anyway, so there's that, and then he's suffering that because he's so shocked the person was so close to him. And he so loved his wife. Talked about her all the time. So there's that. There's the pending divorce. He wants a divorce. There's her children that went into his marriage, which he adopted. And he was already having problems with his children, with preferential treatment to her children. So he's having a family feud. So the same thing. He's having a family feud. Now, here comes Katt WIlliams. Here's the truth about the kings of comedy. Here's the truth about Steve. And enough. And all of these things are happening. What sound man or woman or person can handle such major atrocities all occurring at one time and not call it karma? The king is in karma. And there's nothing you or I or all the king's men of comedy can do to fix that, because karma can't be shooed back. Karma punch hard. It can't go away. So now let's just use this as an example in let's say, a relationship. Kings in karma. Now, these are men that I call carrying the king energy. They will lose the love of their life. They will lose a good job assignment. It's a losing of things by their own mistakes. They did it. They lost that woman. They lost that assignment. They can't make it connect. And they'll do it in such a way that when they realize what they did, they can't find a way to recover because they're in crisis mode. They're in karma mode. And even if the great vast universe was kind enough to say to them, this person can help you through, this person can bring you to your awareness, they still can't see it because now they're smothered in the seat of karma, I would say, and getting kicked they have to wrestle with their thoughts. They have to wrestle at night. All of this. And they have to keep it quiet because the thing the king carries most is his own secrets. So see, it's a facade. They don't want you to know they're in a weakened state. Such as Steve saying, I don't have to clap back. I'm okay, okay, okay. Now this is difficult to hear, particularly for a king, because the thing for a king is he doesn't often realize that everyone has the issue. And it's not a failure until you make it final. And that's what they do by backing away because they can't see their own errors. The ego is in the way. The pride is in the way. The hurt is in the way. The basement is in the way. The things they smothered up is in the way. And they think they covered up with drinking, which makes it seem like it takes the edge off. It takes the edge off. And then it comes back bigger and bolder than before because they haven't addressed it. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put the king back together again. And you will see him or her or whatever, but I'm talking king energy, wrestling and falling apart. Misjudgment. One of the things a king often do as well is if you confront them about it and position this truth in front of it, they will let you go. They will shun you or ghost you. A ghost move is often a narcissistic move or a move by a king who got hurt by what you did. Otherwise, there's no purpose for it. This is what I mean about courageous conversations. Because people who can have a courageous conversation has no need to ghost anybody or shun anybody. They're ready for it. Just start it. Now, what they won't do, the person, the whale person, the whole person, the person that's positioned to have this difficult talk, they're looking for the value of fixing whatever this difficult talk is. They're not ahead of the outcome. But what they won't do is do your part for you. If they're smart enough and aware enough and connected enough, they won't overstep their role in this connection. So if you don't take your step in this role, in this connection, it will be your loss yet again. Now, see, that's a king. That's a king in karma. He starts losing all over again. Great love, great career, great opportunity, his family, what he hoped for. Battling with people at work, arguing, having a lawsuit even, all of this, poor judgment. So having said that, now I'm going to wrap up, and I'd like to wrap up with a quote that I heard. Now I'm going to need my glasses because it came from a small. I'm going to need my glasses. I'm going to read a quote, and it is from Brian Stevenson. It says, truth and reconciliation work is always hard. It's challenging. But if we have the courage to tell the truth and to hear the truth, great things happen between the two that's speaking the truth. So use the power of your voice. Speak out. Just say what you want. Say it. And encourage the person to hear you, especially if you're the one who's at fault. Because you know what? That's a part of your lesson. For whatever it is you did, that's a part of your lesson. So don't look at it like this is my view, and I don't know, and I could be wrong, but don't look at it as a fallen king. I got to come back and ask you, would you please talk to me and accept you? You might reject me, and I don't want to feel, I don't want to, I don't know. This is karma confusing the mind. and it's your crisis mode. And you don't know what to do because things are out of control. And typically for a king, things are not always out of control. So you're zigzagging all over the place and you're wandering in thoughts, and you are your problem. That's why all the king's horses, all the king's men, no one you can talk to. You're going to have to do it. And it is not, at the end of the day, even if you're on your hands and knees, begging and pleading, you're still a king. You haven't lost being a king. No one took your kingdom back down from you, your kingdom within. You didn't lose that. You didn't lose, you're still a king. You're in a weakened position. You're in a karma mode. You lost that beautiful soul that was sent, could have helped you. You lost that great position that could have elevated. You've done that. Stop yourself. Stop yourself. Has nothing to do with pride. It has to do with recollecting the right ways that a king should function, because when you're not, by default, you're in a wayward position, and that's why you're losing. You ain't gonna never get nobody like her again. You ain't gonna never get that position again. You ain't gonna never, because part of your lesson is the karma that's hitting you, that's telling you that you need to reconcile the pieces of your life that made you a king in the first place. Okay? And so this is what I call a hard truth. And this is what I call a quaking truth, to awaken truth of a king. So wake up, king. Wake up. Get everything and everyone you want properly back in your court, and stand up and be the man that wears the crown, just like you once were. Okay? And I love you. If you've gotten this far, please click subscribe. Bring a friend with you next time. And if you know a king that probably needs to hear this message, send it right to them. I love you. Bye.